While much of the president's agenda remains stalled in Congress, see previous conversations tonight. NBC News reports progress is being made on police reform. According to a congressional source, quote, a draft text of a police reform bill in the name of George Floyd is being circulated to lawmakers, a positive sign that talks are moving forward. Well, back with us again tonight, Bill Bratton, former commissioner of the NYPD, a veteran of the Boston Police Department, former chief of police in Los Angeles. His new book, released just yesterday, is this. It's called The Profession, a memoir of community, race, and the arc of policing in America. Commissioner, it's great to have you back on the broadcast. Let's start here. What should be in any bill with the label police reform other than three items: training, training, and training? How about body cams for all? And how about more training while we're at it?
Sounds good to me. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the funding for it. Devil is always in the details. Those body cams, by the way, that they might think of bringing the federal agencies into that picture. Right now, the pressure of the focus is largely on municipal state police organizations, but we need to also encompass federal agencies into that plan.
Let's talk about police academies. Let's talk about the American families who have become, because a whole bunch of other people don't want to do the job, a permanent warrior class. The American families who have become kind of a permanent police class. How do you change the dynamic, the look, the feel, the background of those who are willing to sit down, take the test, enter the academy, and try to change an organization, a culture from within?
Well, the goal is, as we know, is to regain trust where we've lost it, improve it where we still have it. And to do that, it's going to require leadership politically and leadership in American policing. But most importantly, it is going to require refocusing on how we select our personnel, how we train them, how we monitor them, how we supervise them. The idea of transparency, accountability. But the training, I only had 8 weeks of training back in 1970. I was out in the street in a uniform with a gun and a badge. The average police officer in America today is 4 to 6 months. That is nowhere near enough for the complexities of American policing today. We need to strengthen that, not just the initial training, but throughout their career, pulling them in for 3-4 weeks a year to basically keep up their skills and to improve their skills, because the business is always changing. It's always reforming.
I want to talk to you about the death of George Floyd. To do so, I'm going to quote from your book. George Floyd's murder, and it was 100% a murder, was one of the worst things I have ever seen done to a person by a police officer. I am by nature an optimist, but this threw me. I spent a significant part of the year not knowing how to defend my profession. I imagine, Commissioner, you have a lot of company in that last sentence. What did it change in you now that we've had a conviction, now that Americans seem to agree what we saw was a stone-cold murder, a man's life taken from him in the street as we watched, and some people had the presence of mind to record it so the world could see it. What changed in you?
Well, one, I never expected to watch a slow-motion murder by a police officer, and that's what it was, murder in slow motion by a uniformed police officer. You would have seen, as I have seen through my 50 years in the business, countless scenes of police action that's usually fast. It's like that, very, very quick. This one was so slow, deliberate, callous. Nobody in policing, and I don't believe anybody in the general population, could believe what they were seeing. And he caused so much damage to the trust that police had. And police usually poll higher than just about any other government agency among the public. But boy, that action on that day set us back years. And it's going to take us years to recover that trust, particularly in the country's minority communities, let alone in the white community.